You okay, Panther? We're supposed to get tropical moisture from Barry next week. Somebody forgot to tell Mother Nature that that didn't start tonight. It's 2 a.m. and it's pouring out there. See, everybody survived the monsoon last night. The humidity today, oh my goodness, the humidity. Don pulled Ruby out for me. I have an important Pokemon Go trade at South Park this morning with Littleton. I would say we got somewhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain last night. And there's a 50% chance for some more strong storms this afternoon. So I don't know, but we don't really need any more rain today. We had plenty of rain yesterday. All right, I've got my green shiny onyx now, and next week I'll meet Littleton, and I'm gonna trade him a shiny gold Caterpie from Ruby's account. So it's kind of like we need to do 2 trades to make this trade, but I'm excited. I'm back home. I'm gonna go inside and have some breakfast with Don. He's been cooking bacon. I'm gonna get caught up on our videos and chill for a while, and then I'll be back out to town later this afternoon. No trips today. Another day, another trek out in Ruby. So I want to go check out the Costco in Apex. Right. We started to do this the other day, but it didn't work out.
Right.
And I kind of was gonna leave Don on his couch, and then I really wanted company.
Yeah, she did.
And Don, being the good guy that he is, he agreed to go without any fuss.
That's right.
But I think he's ready for Johnny to come home, because we really need to spread out these trips between him and Johnny. He's having to take all of those trips for the team this week.
For the team, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, but it's like best to spread it out between Don, Johnny, and Michelle.
That's right.
Besides, where would we be today if we weren't out here to enjoy the blue sky, big puffy white clouds? I guess it remains to be seen if we're going to get some thunder showers this afternoon. Probably. That just seems to be the way we roll around here lately. But I'm kind of tired of worrying about it, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to not worry about hail ever, but thunder showers, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I promised Don, you'll love the way 2 former IBMers talk. I promised him no project creep today, no scope creep, that we would just go to Costco and just come back home. He wasn't asking me to make that promise, by the way, but I was just throwing that out there as extra added incentive. So now I guess we'll see if I can really stick to that or not. Right, Donnie?
That's right.
And the main thing I want to check out at Costco is I want to see if the $60 a year fee we would have to pay to join is worth it and what I possibly could save in cat litter and cat food. You know, we like to buy local farm produce, organic produce. We like to buy, we still get a lot of our meat, our pork locally. We've stopped on the beef so much for now. I'm not going to say we're going to stay stopped, but for now. But we are still buying all of our ground pork sausage type cuts and ribs. St. Louis style ribs are coming from a local farm. So I'm not really looking at it so much from a food thing. And I guess we're fairly entrenched with Amazon Subscribe and Save on the few products we use at the house. But I'm interested about the cat supplies. So we'll see. So the tobacco in this field here on our left is ready to be topped. The flowers are out. Over here, this field on the right, not doing quite as well, maybe not planted at exactly the same time, not quite as old, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of the fields now are ready to be topped, and most of that is done by hand.
Right, they do it by hand, and taking the blooms off causes the plant's energy to be used to produce leaves.
Right.
And it's the tobacco leaves, of course, they're after.
Yeah, especially those lower leaves on the plant, which will be the biggest ones. So they'll come and top, and then really soon after they top, they'll come back and they'll just take the lower leaves.
Yeah.
And then they may come through one more time and take a few more, and then they'll have the machine come in and pull it up by the stalk and Yeah,
they get like that.
You know, it varies from year to year how much tobacco we see planted in the fields near us. Always some, but they don't necessarily, the tobacco is really hard on the land. They don't really plant the tobacco per se in the same fields every year, year after year. They rotate them. So, I don't know. It's just a sign, it's just a way to, another way to mark the calendar days during the summer here with how high the tobacco is. We saw some really great corn in Hickory yesterday. This one field looked like it was prime people corn. The
SUV because she's now a mom, and moms are really worried about their babies in the back seat.
Another day, another podcast. Finishing up this one. All right, Donnie, this is my favorite on-ramp.
That's right.
Have some fun with it, Donnie.
There's a car in front of me, sweetie.
I understand.
How that works.
There it is. And it's just barely an apex. It's like 1 minute you're in Cary and the next minute you're in apex. It's kind of halfway between Guardian Angel Apex and Whole Foods Cary, where I shop when Michelle's out with me on Tuesdays. Although part of my thinking is I don't know that I would really have time to add a stop at Costco into our already we can barely get back to Fuquay before 6 p.m. shopping day. Donnie, you cannot have TV envy, even if it is 82 inches. Okay, here's your TV, Donnie. I told Donnie had to at least look at the dishwashers in here.
Well, this one, I want my tool cabinet to glide as easy as the doors in my tool cabinet.
Isn't that glide? I mean, that glide is like...
I mean, JB, they're going to be self-closing.
Wow. That was pretty... But
what's this?
Oh, delicates, huh?
Well, I think it's silverware.
Silverware?
Yeah, I
really?
think this is the silverware. I'm going to guess. I don't know that.
Wow, I'd have to see how that's supposed to work.
Flatware. They don't call it silverware.
Silverware, yeah. Use the right term, Donnie. Use the right term.
Silverware back there.
Oh, okay. So that's not silverware.
Well, no. This is silverware. This is flatware. You know, I don't
We'll have to see what that top thing is.
Looks complicated.
No, it doesn't. No. Yeah, we're good.
1100.
What's that, Donnie?
You've never seen a piece of Pyrex that you didn't like.
I think that's true. I don't have this pattern. I like this pattern. I do. I really like it, as a matter of fact. I have never seen a mattress in a box before.
It's got its own little wheel so you can wheel it out of here.
Oh, wow. Wow.
No heavy lifting required.
Except for getting what we already have in. No? How much does it weigh?
75 pounds?
Yeah.
I'd say 75 or more, 80 maybe.
Huh. And it's not the only one. We each have our things we're interested in looking at. So this is a Segway kick scooter.
Yeah, this is the big brand name. This is Segway 9.
Yeah. Johnny always looks at scooters whenever we go anywhere. He thinks he'd like to have one. Maybe someday. Oh, you can even get your roses here. They're really pretty. So $6 for this huge bag. What is it? It's 23 ounces. But you know what? If that came to our house, that wouldn't last 3 days and we'd be sick. We wouldn't be able to stop eating it. How can you buy stuff in that kind of size when it's so good? Cauliflower organic tortilla chips. I don't even think I've seen those at Whole Foods to try. Instant savings, the Bounty Selecta size paper towels would be a good deal. I think even a better deal than we're getting off Amazon. But part of it is the instant savings. This is what I want to sample today. Unfortunately, no samples for that. Oh my goodness, that is the most cool I have felt since January.
I'm moving in. We'll get that couch and that 80-inch TV, put it right there in the corner.
That's too funny. So 60 cans is $30. That's 49 point something cent a can. First off, that's really not cheaper. And it's a bunch of flavors that they're not going to want. So I can't do that. And fussy about what dry chow they get. So let's check out the cat litter thing now. They have some fancy feast to think about, but again, it's all a mixture. So Yeah, so this is scented Fresh Step, which is not what I would want. And this low dust formula here is also scented. That's not coming in my house. So the answer is a big whopping no for cat food stuff. But you don't know if you don't look. I will say that if you were trying to eat non-GMO or organic, I did see a ton of options here today. I did see a lot of good options. So the Tar Heel Traveler even has a book. Although something tells me, Donnie, that listening to him narrate, since we're so used to that, is the way to go. But still, there's a book.
She says it's a rocker and recliner. But it doesn't have room for me, so no can get it.
We actually do need, it's not plugged in so we can't try them, but we actually need a new power operated love seat, dual love seat. We do. The one we have is wore out and it's not comfy anymore on multiple levels, and it was a lazy boy that we paid really good money for, and then it wasn't worth it. We wouldn't buy another lazy boy. So for now, not getting a membership today. Maybe Michelle would want to share a membership.
Looks like a good place to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, if we had a bigger and younger family, that might be a reason. But you know, see, I like to shop. So coming and buying in bulk and like never needing to shop again is sort of not who I am.
Right.
And, you know, I think you could get some good deals in there, but there's some stuff that's not a good deal. So it's the same as with everywhere. You got to be careful with what you do. And
right.
what were we in there for 2 hours today? An hour and a half at least, browsing.
Yeah.
And,
well, we went up and down everything.
We really gave it some serious consideration. We did. Now we're going to go research Parker couches and see where else we can buy them and in what other configurations, since that one is really bigger than what we need, but exactly what we want.
Right, it certainly looks very promising.
I call for this guy and I just love that he always comes for his mama. Hi! Come here, you sweet boy, you. Hi, did you miss me? I missed you. Hi, buddy. Poor Don. He gave up his nap to go to Costco with me, and now he's given up watching the news to go run.
Yep.
He would have wished it would have rained a little bit to cool it off. It's 86 and sticky out here, but at least the sun is not full blast. So I love you.
I love you too.
You hurry back.
I will.
Yeah. She says even though the asphalt's hot, it kind of feels good. Yeah, Tuxie's over here. So Don came in from his run today, and he was passionate about some things he was feeling, which means I'm gonna stick the camera in his face. I gotta give Don credit, okay? I do. He listens to all the sides. He's really fair. He listens to climate people that if we don't fix our CO2, we're gonna die tomorrow. And he listens to people that are complete skeptics and people that are everywhere in between. Same thing with nuclear energy. People that think we need these thorium reactors to save the planet, to people that are like, if we need to shut down every nuclear power plant tomorrow. Yeah, people that are in love with renewables, people that don't think. I mean, Don listens to everyone, and then of course he has an opinion, which he, you know, shares with me and may or may not share on the channel, but he's got his opinion. At least he took the time to really investigate it.
Right.
Well, today he was listening to Consumer Reports on his run. Now, I personally, I'm done with Consumer Reports. I mean, I'm done never listening to another thing that the people, because I am not quite as fair as Don. But I've heard him say a few negative things about Tesla. And I don't
Consumer Reports say non-positive
things about Tesla. They seem biased to me. That's my opinion, and not your opinion may vary. But Don, he's still listening to him anyway. But today he came in and you sounded like me.
Well,
you were a little passionate. So what episode were you listening to today?
It's number 211, 2019 Audi e-tron First Impressions, and it also has Lee Iacocca Automotive Career.
Right, and yeah, so tell us a little bit about what got you so passionate today.
Well, I'm trying to be positive here. they very much like the e-tron.
And that's not the problem that we had with the podcast.
That's right.
That wasn't the problem.
Right. and they never specifically, they did mention Tesla several times, but in the context of, oh well, the e-tron's better. You know, one of the comments the lady made was, well, you know, the e-tron's made by a real car company.
Ooh, that would have really...
I'm sorry, an established car company. I apologize. My interpretation, as I heard, a real car, but she actually said an established car company. So I took a little offense to that. And the other thing was the guy admitted he drove it a whole 170 miles.
He's an expert now.
So I'm an expert. I drove the car one afternoon, 170 miles on a trip. So I know... my opinion counts, and it's like, there ain't no way. Anyway, so they like the e-tron. In fact, the lady said, you know, this is the problem actually that I was commenting to Marianne about. She actually hit the nail on the head, which is my problem with Consumer Reports. The lady actually said this, and I'm going to almost be verbatim quote here. She said, the more electric cars drive and behave like conventional cars, the better I like them.
Right,
so,
she's not capable of change. Now, I know you know somebody that has a problem with change. So, that would be me.
So, to date, in her opinion, the e-tron is the most conventional-like electric car. Therefore, I like this one better than the other ones, you know, like those Teslas. You know, they're not conventional. So, okay. I got it. You know, you're old school. You know.
Right, well, it's okay to have someone on the review team that is going to feel that way. But maybe we could have some more willing to change blood on the review team.
Right. Well, the other thing I would say, limiting, having listened to Talking Cars for a couple, 3 years. I mean, I don't know how many they've got 211.
Talking Cars being the name of the Consumer Reports podcast. Okay.
I mean, I've been a Consumer Reports subscriber or whatever you want. I don't know, since the 90s or something, off and on. I currently am still a consumer. I mean, I actually still have a electronic Consumer Reports. You know, I pay them $21 a year or something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, the point is, the concern I have is they still don't get electric cars. They don't buy the gasoline that they put in the cars themselves. It's like the two guys and the lady who drove the e-tron. When they review their Lexus or BMW, they never talk about, well, I took the $68 and tanked it up, and oh, by the way, that's $68, not off my expense account, but out of my pocket. They never talk about that.
They don't feel the pain.
They don't feel the pain. They also don't ever experience the convenience. None of them have admitted to having an electric charger at home. If they've tried to charge it, they tried to charge on 110. So that's the wrong...
As far as we know.
As far as we know.
They've never talked about a positive home charging experience on any of these electric cars they've reviewed.
Again, this is a comment more on showing they're missing the mark on electric cars. And yeah, I didn't appreciate some of their somewhat dissing of Tesla. But the biggest thing, I think that they continue to speak with forked tongue. In fact, on this episode, they got into the questions and answers, and I believe the 4 questions they answered, they brought up the topic of safety, how important safety is. And they said the Audi was the first family electric car. They felt like this was designed for families. Well, I would think, as Consumer Reports, if you're labeling the car as a family car, the first words out of your mouth, not if it's electric or gas or how neat the UI is or isn't or how it can go 204 miles or it can't, would be, let's talk about safety. They never mentioned the S word once. In the entire impression, the S word was never mentioned. So obviously, Safety is not important to people who buy family cars. That's the only possible thing I can take from that. They never mentioned this when they talk about Tesla. They never mentioned the 5-star crash rating. They never mentioned it's been rated the safest car, because they're not interested in safety. I think they're interested in making sure it has gas and you don't plug it in. Those are the things they're interested in. So I admit I got a little
right, and Don doesn't usually get quite so worked up, and he's been a real sport here because I haven't let him cool down, and he
I just got him.
Yeah, I let him take a shower, but I didn't let him cool down. Now look, I want to say something that's sort of a little off topic, but it's kind of on the side though, okay? I am the least minimalistic person you know, okay? I like to collect things.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, it was in my blood. My grandmother collected things. She
collected me, right?
Right. So, for me to get inside the Tesla with what other people refer to as the minimalistic interior and not once ever miss any of the buttons that were in my Honda Odyssey minivan, Acura Integra GS, because I did drive kind of a sporty car before, a fast sporty car before I had the minivan.
Right.
Also drove a Honda CR-V for a while and some old, very large gas guzzling Cadillacs when I was in high school. So for me to get in there and not be fussing about how minimalist the interior is, I think says how good a job they've done with providing a whole bunch of features, but in a really easy to use user interface. So I get it that some people don't like change. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, she doesn't like change.
I really don't like change. Did I get upset about driving Ruby?
No.
No, I actually didn't. I didn't.
The excitement. Although when they changed the version 9 UI, I did hear about that.
Right, because I couldn't put my pictures up, and I still can't quite put my pictures up. But I've adapted. I did mouth off about that for about a week though when they changed the UI.
Yep.
I like my UI the way it was, but it's fine now.
Yep.
So I just, if somebody's really going to say that they don't like, that they need all of those buttons and that they don't want the minimalistic interior, let's make sure we've gone on a test drive with it and spent a little bit of time reading up about how it works before we go making comments like that.
I guess I have the impression, getting back to my opinion and what my thinking is, Consumer Reports, they're reviewing them cars like that they're rental cars. You know, when I used to travel for 3 years,
he did.
I was on the road
all the time.
45 weeks out of the year.
Racking up those Sky Miles.
No, I had them all,
Airlines,
you know. And honest to God, I have been in some rental cars. It's like, oh God, I don't, how do you turn the radio off? Where's the air conditioner? So I agree with them that if you have nice big buttons, you know, this is the on-off switch for the air conditioner. That's better. That a Tesla, or possibly even the e-tron. I'm not going to go because I've not drove the e-tron, but certainly the Jaguar
probably will
would not be a good rental car. If you're picking it up the airport and your job is I just need to get to that meeting, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have to spend some time with the car. So I guess they have a high bias to not being familiar with the cars, and it's an advantage to them if you can just get in a car and go with no thought given. And I think that there's a segment of people that's probably the right answer. I haven't
been in any of the new cars lately where I could just get in it and sort of didn't feel like I needed an overview. So
something.
Maybe the playing field is really more level set than we.
The lady did say that her kids were all busting a gut when she was trying to put the e-tron into drive and kept putting it in park. And she said this was just a comedy of errors. She'd put it in the way the handle of the knob is made or something. She would put it in drive, and then her finger would hit the park button, so it would go back to park. She couldn't, you know. So I can definitely see how that she would be somebody who might need the old stick shift with the clunk, clunk, clunk.
Right. Well, remember when we got in the Kona, and I kept on wanting to use the Tesla gear shifter to put it into drive.
Get set in our ways.
And all you had, it was in a different, I mean, yeah, so I didn't appreciate them moving it. It was hard for me to figure it out too. So maybe this is a thought, okay? Any new car you get into, you're going to need to study the controls for a little bit. And we shouldn't be, that 10-minute I can get in and drive thing is probably not the most important part of the thing. Like, What I really want to know is after you drove it for 2 days and after you drove it for a week? Are you having trouble with the controls in any way? That's really more what I don't really care if you get in the car and in the first 10 minutes you can't figure anything out or you're messing up the controls a little bit along the way.
I don't think that should discredit the car at
right,
that point.
because like the Jaguar I-Pace had all these cool modes. I think the Audi e-tron, well, Tesla has modes too. Yeah. Okay, so like I found out I like sport and that there's a way to change it.
Right.
Do I remember how to go change the modes in the I-Pace? Absolutely not. I would probably have to get out the owner's manual. But I would figure it out. I would figure it out, and after changing it a few times, I would know where it was, and that would be a non-discussion point, right? Unless I just really, after a week, couldn't remember where it was. So, I don't know. Other criteria, folks. Other criteria.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can listen to their podcast. I still I think they're just a little closed off still with electric cars, and we are at the beginning here. Hopefully, as they have experience with more and more cars, they'll start appreciating the attributes of electric cars and not wish. I'm waiting for the day where they say, the more conventional cars drive like electric cars, the better they like them. I'm waiting for them to say that because I think that day is going to come.
Well, that and all of the 3 people that do these podcasts now have installed home charging.
Right.
So they can really do a charging cycle when they review these cars, because I think that's only fair because probably before you return the gas cars back to the people that loaned them to you, you make sure the tank is full.
Well, the last time I owned a gas car, I had to pay for all the gas I put in it. So I don't know that it's actually ever fair, even though they're quote unquote professionals, that they don't buy their own gas. I mean, I love driving this car so much. I didn't mind putting in 5-10 tanks of gas at $75 a pop. If a guy said that to me, I'd believe him, that he really enjoyed driving that car. But it's like, I barely, I put $5 worth in that car because I didn't enjoy driving it much. I didn't want to put much money in it. I can understand that too. So let's do that.
Don ran me out to the kitchen. He said, I have got to put the fan on me, and I won't let him use the fan when I'm in there because it makes the audio not as good. So I wanted to touch on one other thing. Yesterday we did the 2 short charging stops instead of charging in Hickory and doing 1 longer charging stop. And Don has suggested, he said this a few minutes ago, I swear I'm only repeating what he already said, that, people focus a little bit too much on time to charge on trips when they're not making trips every day. Now, we know there's some people out there, had their car for 2 years and they've done 100,000 miles in their Tesla probably, that they're on the road all the time. And their opinion of charging and how long it takes is going to be different than ours, where we almost never supercharge and just charge every once in a while. So we get that. There are different people out there. Well, I guess the point we wanted to make was try to focus on how you're going to charge the car most of the time. You're not gonna, if you're always charging your car, like you're on the road all the time, then you really need a really high charging rate and a really long range and lots of options for charging. And the Tesla supercharger network probably today, if we're just looking today, like is really useful to you and that kind of thing. If you're a family like us where you don't charge really often, you just charge every once in a while, then your mileage is going to vary. Are you coming over here to say something now? Okay, you've been a good boy. So what I want to say next is we liked the 2 short stops yesterday because we had dinner. We chose to eat dinner where there wasn't any charging. Like we said, we might would have looked for a destination charger in downtown, but it was storming, it was thunder and lightning, and there was like a chance of hail, and so we just didn't even try to look on PlugShare to see if there was some place we could. So we chose, I'm probably always gonna be okay with eating breakfast at home or on the road and grabbing a quick bite for lunch. But me personally, my preference is when it comes time to dinner, like yesterday was date day. Like, take me out to eat dinner someplace. I don't want to eat Chick-fil-A at the supercharger tonight. I want to eat someplace real. So, we made that choice to not charge while we ate dinner. And then we also made the choice to only charge for 20 minutes to get to the next supercharger and get out. And that's because you know, 90 minutes later, after drinking a lot of tea and water and getting rehydrated with dinner, you know, we were probably going to want a comfort stop for us as humans. So that worked great for us. I think we would do that again. We only had fast charging speeds. We were really kind to us humans as far as getting out and walking. You know, those people, they tell you not to sit for hours and hours at a time, and people can get that DVT, deep vein thrombosis stuff. So it's really kind to your body, kind of healthier lifestyle, I think, where you make these stops, you get out, you make sure you're hydrated, you make sure you have a chance to use the bathroom, you get your circulation going, you probably are more alert as a driver because you've gotten out and walked around. So I just don't see the downside, even if charging takes a little longer, of supercharging. Not to mention that oftentimes we meet nice people along the way. So I'd like to see some of these reports that talk about, and this goes for the other EVs out there too, whatever their range is or however fast they can charge. Think about maybe this lifestyle change of not inhaling gas fumes and using the bathroom when you really need to and walking around and getting more alert. Maybe this is all for the better. We don't have to, oh God, it took me an extra, you know, 10 minutes to stop and charge, you know, over what I would have done with the gas car for my travels today. I don't see it as a negative. So I guess I would hope folks would at least think about it. Is it really a negative?